What is up, guys? This is not world's first pfSense livestream, as you might expect by watching the lower left corner of your video, but this is the first how to install pfSense 2.4.4 from USB video I've done. I never done anything like that. I always did videos on how to install pfSense on VirtualBox. So recently I bought this pfSense appliance from Scope 7 that you can see right here, and unfortunately they said it's coming pre-configured with pfSense, but what they did is they installed it on the onboard or on the 8GB eMCC memory that is placed on the main board instead of installing it on the 32GB SSD hard drive that is in there. So I actually don't know why they did that. I guess they just overlooked something in the installation process, whatever. On the other hand, now I get the chance to show you how to install pfSense 2.4.4 from USB using a serial connection with PuTTY. So this is a great opportunity for you guys to learn how to install pfSense on an actual physical appliance. This is the Scope 7 1510. I have no affiliation with them, and obviously I wouldn't recommend them after sending me a not correctly installed device. And what this is underneath is a Lanner 1510 firewall, which you can order, I think, from the Lanner website. I'm not sure if they sell those to non-corporate customers, but it doesn't matter. This installation method applies for each and every pfSense firewall that you install with a serial connection. So you can use this on whatever appliance you have lying around that uses serial. I'm going to show you the whole process. That's why you see this webcam image on your lower left corner, because I want you to see when I plug in the cable, when I plug in the USB drive, etc, etc. I want to have that this will be a full-on tour of tutorial on how to install pfSense 2.4.4 from USB. Okay, enough with that introduction. Let's get started with the installation. I will go through this rather quickly to not take up too much of your time. If you need to re-watch or something was too fast for you, just scroll back and watch it again. It's the complete process there, but it might be a little bit too fast for a beginner because, as I said, I don't want to spend too much time on doing this. So let's get right into it. First, go to www.pfsense.org, click on Downloads, then select the architecture, which is AMD 64-bit. Select the installer, which is important to choose the correct one. You have to choose the USB memstick installer. Then select the serial console if you have a serial connection, or VGA if you have some kind of VGA output on your pfSense appliance. But if you only have a serial cable that is attached to pfSense that you can install it with, choose definitely serial. That's what we're gonna choose here. Then choose whatever mirror you like. Frankfurt is the closest to me, and I actually didn't download it, so I'm gonna pause the video real quick and we'll be back when the download is finished. By the way, if you're wondering about this awesome workstation right here, this is my new 2019 Linux workstation. I'll link the link to the article about that in the description below if you want to check it out. It's a pretty awesome build, pretty budget build. Definitely worth checking out in early 2019. And while this download is finishing, as every YouTuber does, I have to do it too, guys. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel, it really helps me out. And hit the notification bell to get informed about new videos. I release new videos every single week. Thanks. Okay, once that is finished, open your downloads folder. I have it opened already. Download the tool called 7-zip if you don't have it already. Right click it and right click the pfSense image and select 7-zip and select extract here. Good. The next thing, while this is extracting, what we need is the Win32 disk imager. Choose a safe source to download it. I think SourceForge is nice. I know Heise is a safe and legit source, so I choose Heise. Click on download, or zum Download in German. And let's download that real quick. Make sure your USB drive is in your computer. I already have it in there. I have a 16GB USB drive in there. 8GB is fine. I think even 4GB is plenty. Then just open this. You get a short black screen here. Alright, there we are again. So let's click on next to accept the agreement. Just install it wherever you want, leaving everything on default, and then select launch Win32 disk imager. Go ahead and choose the image file that we have just extracted, which is this one. It's the .img file. Click on open, and then make sure you've chosen the correct USB drive. As you can see, it's G for me, so that's fine. Always make sure you choose the correct drive, otherwise your data will be gone. And be aware, all data on your USB drive will be gone after running this tool. Then click on write. Click on yes, and then it writes the pfSense image onto the stick. Let's wait a couple of seconds until that is finished. While this is writing, go ahead and download PuTTY. Go to Google and type PuTTY. This is a terminal emulator, and then click on download PuTTY on putty.org and download PuTTY here, and then choose either the 64-bit or the 32-bit version if you have a 64-bit system. If you have a modern system, it's most likely 64-bit, so download the 64, and if not, choose 32-bit. After downloading it, just go ahead and install it. I already have it installed, so I won't do that again. Leave everything on default. And as this indicates, probably our USB drive is ready. Right, successful. That looks great. So close it up. I want to show you one more thing. If you open that thing again here, then you see it's now named pfSense, and pfSense is installed there. It's actually created 3 partitions and pretty much messed up your USB drive, rendered it unusable. It will be hard to format it, but I will show you how to get around that on the end of this video, so make sure you watch until the end. Okay, now we have that done. Let me grab my USB drive real quick. Okay, I got that, and here it is. That's the USB drive. And now comes the advantage of the webcam. Go ahead and plug the USB drive in the correct way, of course, into your pfSense appliance, and then go ahead and I just had the cable here somewhere. There it is. Now I have a USB serial cable. This is not a classical serial cable, because this thing has a serial emulator or something built in into the appliance that will simulate a serial connection to my computer and will enable me to connect to it via USB. If you only have a serial port on your pfSense firewall, then you have to have a converter integrated into your cable. I'm not sure. I have one cable here that works with that. It was quite a hassle to find a cable that actually worked to install pfSense. I went through a couple of cables. So if you are in need of a cable or your cable does not work, leave a comment below and I'll find that cable somewhere in my storage and will tell you exactly which cable I used for that. But as I said, now we are going to plug in this cable here. Excuse if the audio gets lower while I'm working on here. So I'm plugging it in there, and then I'm gonna plug it into the back of my computer, and for that I'm gonna quickly pause the video. Okay, I just plugged it in, as you can see maybe here. I recommend you to plug it into the back of your computer and not into a port on your case, because this sometimes creates issues. I don't know why, but it's what it is. Okay, so the USB drive is in there, the serial cable is connected. What we're gonna check now, actually, let's switch on the firewall so the emulator can work. I'll just press the button on the back of it, and it should fire up. It would fire up if I would have plugged it into the power plug. So let me fix that. And now it fires up. Okay, so make sure your appliance is running. Sorry for that bump on the microphone. Make sure that your appliance is running, and then go ahead and open PuTTY. after it was installed, and at the same time open your start menu, type device manager or just device, and we'll find it very easily, and open the device manager. We now need to find out which COM port this thing uses, and you can see here there is a USB serial controller, and it's probably the one that I need. So let's go to, where are we? Where is it? Okay, I just had to search that, and because on my other laptop where I tested it before it worked, I had to manually install the driver. So what I did was I right-clicked it and I clicked update driver, and I clicked search automatically for updated driver software, and then it installed the driver from Windows Update. And what is important now, it's under ports, COM and LPT, and you need to note which COM port it was assigned to. Here it's COM3. That's important for the next step, so make sure you are entering the correct COM port. Okay, let's open up PuTTY, and then make sure to change this here to serial, and change the baud speed to, let me check, I think it's 15200. You can look that up in the pfSense documentation right here, and there's the exact speed. It's 115 to 100. And also, if you have a serial cable, you also need to specify the data bits, the parity bits, and the stop bits. So look up this page, and in case you need this information right here. Where we are here. Let's put the correct baud speed there, and then make sure to change COM1 to COM3. That's the one right here. Okay, good. Now we have this, and then just type pfSense here, because if you need to reconnect, you need to type it again. And if you just type pfSense, click on save, it's saved here, and next time you need to pull that up, you can just load it and it will automatically pull up the settings. So let's see if we can actually get to our pfSense firewall. Click on open. Takes a couple of seconds to initiate the connection usually. You also sometimes have to hit the enter button, and there it is. See, we are connected through the TTYU0 channel, and this is already pfSense installed on there. So in your case, you probably will see the BIOS or some menu saying there's nothing installed on it. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, in case you are stuck in that menu, restart the firewall again, and you can just leave this window open, it will automatically reconnect. You can see if I press the button here, it says pfSense is now shutting down, which will take a couple of seconds for me to finish. It's stopping all the processes. So if you have a button on your pfSense, use that button to shut it down instead of just unplugging it. But if you don't, unplugging is fine too. Okay, now it's switched off. You can see maybe I'll turn that a bit. The light is off. Then I'll switch it on again. The light lights up. And now, as soon as the menu comes up, you have to get into the BIOS or the boot menu, depending on what kind of architecture you have on your appliance. Let's give it a few more seconds, and there it's initiating, 99% buffering. And then I hit tab to enter the menu. And what I need to do now is, and what I recommend you to do is as well, go to boot. Of course, you will probably have a different BIOS, but all BIOSes have a boot section. And then you want to choose boot mode legacy. Then you want to make sure the correct hard drive is selected as a hard drive, basically. And you also want to make sure, you can see here that this is the TS 32GB SSD that I have in there, so this is the correct one. And then second boot option is the USB drive that is plugged in. And now we want to go ahead and we want to move this up. So how do we do that? Let's see, I think I just switch that. Hitting enter, switch it up, and then go to save and exit, save changes and reset. And now comes the moment of truth. If our appliance will boot from our USB drive running the pfSense installer. Let's see if that works for us. Let's give it a few seconds to restart again. Let's make some friendlier background here. Yeah, this looks much better. Okay. Good. There we go. There was the menu. And now it should pull up the pfSense boot menu. Just leave it. You don't need to press anything. And now we will just basically go through the installation routine. Let's see how that works out for us. I'll just quickly wait until this boot process is done. And there we are at the first question. Okay, so we don't want definitely not to use VT100, so we're gonna choose Xterm. That's much more beautiful. I hope at least. It still looks shitty. It's a serial connection, okay, so please bear with me. Accept the first agreement and then install pfSense. That's what we want. Choose a key map. This is basically, if you have watched any of my other how to install pfSense on VirtualBox videos, this is exactly the same procedure. Select the German or whatever is your keyboard layout. I think just hit enter, I guess. Let's see how that works out. Then you need, yeah, okay, you hit enter, then it's selected, and then you, I think, hit enter. Come on. Okay, you need to select it with tab. You need to select it with tab, and then you need to hit enter again. Come on, god damn it. What do I do wrong here? As you can see, oh, I'm stupid. Okay, it's just here. Continue with the DE KBD. You just need to select it up here. It happens, guys. Come on, it's after a long day. So then I'll choose the ZFS or ZFS file system. That's it was implemented in pfSense 2.4 and is faster than UFS and is recommended to install on your appliances. Let's choose that. Then we want to go ahead and select a disk. So choose this one and select what we do. We have only one hard drive there. So of course it's Stripe, it's no redundancy. So we're gonna then select the hard drive. And as you can see, on top is already my 32 GB SSD. That's where we want to install it. Hit the space bar and then hit enter. Good. Stripe. Then there is one disk. This is perfect. This is fine. The pool name is whatever, we don't care. We leave that on default. We don't encrypt the disks for now. We choose partition scheme BIOS because we run legacy BIOS. You can, I think you can change through that, but we obviously use BIOS, so we leave it on that. Swap size 2 gig is or 2G is fine. Mirror swap we don't need, encrypt swap we don't need, so we gonna just hit enter. No, actually not. Enter is again. We need to choose install. So now I can show you the other options. There is an UEFI option, there is BIOS and UEFI, there is master boot record, GPT active, blah blah blah, but we just leave it on default. GPT, BIOS. Why did I press the button again? Okay, GPT BIOS is fine. Then go up all the way. It's a bit confusing with this install button here for me right now. And last chance, are you sure you want to destroy the current contents on the following disks? Yes, we are sure. We want to install pfSense. And the installation process should be done rather quickly. That would have been really quick. No, now it's the overall process. I'll just let it run and we'll be back in a sec. Look how fast pfSense is installing. It's amazing. And there we are. It literally didn't even take 30 seconds. I should just also wait, but whatever. The installation is now finished. Before exiting the installer, would you like to open a shell in the new system to make final modifications? I definitely don't want to do that, so I select no and I select reboot. And now we need to change the boot order again. So we need to get into the BIOS while it's booting up again, so make sure you hit that BIOS button again. For me it's tab or delete. It will be written there too for you, BIOS, of course, what the button is, what to press, and if not, look up the documentation of your appliance. Buffering, hit enter or delete or tab to get into the setup. I'll navigate to boot again, and then we're gonna change up this, select the hard drive and move it. No, select this one and then select this one. We just need to make sure it's on boot option 1, and then also go ahead and remove the USB drive. We don't need that anymore right now. And click Save Changes and Restart, and yes. Rebooting. It's a beautiful device though. If you ask me, this looks really nice. It also comes with a rack mount, which allows you to install it in your server rack, which is cool. And I run another appliance of Scope 7. I don't know which one it actually is, but I run it for 2 years or even more than 2 years, and it runs really well. So they did a mistake installing it, but you can surely buy from them because they produce good appliances. Okay, now pfSense is booting up. And there we go, we are booted up in pfSense. The auto configuration went through it completely by itself, automatically assigned the first interface, oh sorry, I moved that. The first interface IGB0 as 1, which is nice, and IGB1, which is the second interface here, to LAN. So there is a DHCP server automatically running, and we can now go ahead and connect to pfSense to our computer, and we can access the web interface. Just give me a second to plug in my LAN cable into the appliance. Okay, so again, for your better understanding, here is my LAN cable, and I know that I struggled with that in the beginning when I first installed the first pfSense ever that I have installed that is running in my server rack. Again, there's IGB0, which is the first interface, which is the interface where you want to plug in your modem, okay? I'm recommending the Draytech Vigor 130 modem. I'm running it in, I don't know, 10 different appliances now, and it never failed me ever. It's a superb modem. I will link it in the description below too. Just make sure you choose the correct NX standard for where you live. That's easy to find out for you. So you plug your modem in here, and you plug your LAN in the second port in this case, okay? So always make sure you plug it into the correct port, and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. It already recognized a connection here, as you can see down here, down here. And then we should be able to open up pfSense by going to its default IP address, and there it is. The default IP address, by the way, let me quickly pull it up again. It's written right here. It's 192.168.1.1. For you more advanced guys out there, this might be a few steps too much, but I want to do this really beginner friendly, so I go over every detail that might throw you off. Alright, then when you open it, there's written your connection is not private or not secure. I have a solution for that on my website, cosec.com. Make sure to check that out, how to enable SSL on pfSense. There's a step-by-step tutorial there. Click on Advanced for now. Click Proceed to 192.168.1.1. And we should be in the pfSense login screen. The default login for pfSense is admin. The password is pfSense. And we are in the initial setup wizard. We are going to run through this wizard because the wizard is really good and sets you up with everything that you need for all your basic settings. Let's click on Next. Let's agree that there's a global support option available with pfSense. I haven't tried that, but it certainly will be worth it. I know the guys from pfSense. I'm also pfSense certified, so they really know what they're doing. Hostname is whatever you want it to be. We leave it for pfSense now. Then comes the name of your domain. Then comes your primary DNS server. You can just leave that empty in case your pfSense will be the DNS server. Leave override DNS for now if you don't know what that means. Click on Next. Leave the time server hostname per default. Adjust your time zone. I'll choose, for good measure, I choose my time zone. Where is my time zone? Europe, Berlin, there we go. Next, then configure the WAN interface. And now this highly depends on where you are located and how you are connecting to PF, or how you want pfSense to establish a internet connection. If you, let's say, if you do a DHCP, that means that you would plug your WAN port, which is the first port here, if you remember that. Oh, let me remove this cable. This looks a bit weird on the webcam. This is the first port here. You would plug it into an existing internet connection that is established by a different router, or you would plug it in a modem that somehow creates an internet connection via DHCP and is able to forward that. But in most cases for home networks, at least here in Europe, we have PPPoE. So if you plug in your modem and you need credentials, you need to enter the credentials of your ISP into pfSense or into your router, then you need to choose PPPoE. This is what I have to choose as well for my connection. So I'll put it on PPPoE. If you have more questions about that, just discuss it down in the comments. If you have trouble with that, there is the pfSense forum. It's really easy to figure out which of those you need to choose depending on your setup. Okay, we go over PPPoE. Leave everything here on default. A static configuration, we don't need that now. Let's go, and there it is. There's your PPPoE details, so you should have a letter from your ISP telling you what your username is, what your password is, blah blah blah, and then you can name it Telecom, for example. And this we don't need, PPT, and we leave block Bogon networks, we leave it on checked here. And for now I don't have credentials here for this demonstration, so I just put it back on DHCP. Don't worry about that now. I'll just click on next then. Then you can change the LAN IP address of the LAN interface if you want to. If you don't know what that means, again, leave it on default. It does not matter for you. Leave the subnet mask on 24, click on next. Then, of course, change the admin password to something more safe than the default. It's actually great that it works like this with the wizard now. It's so easy. Click on reload. Reload is in progress. And there we go. Congratulations. pfSense is now configured. The next thing you want to do is check for updates. Update to the latest version before you start any configuration. Click on finish. Click on accept to accept the license agreement. And then we see it's also installed on the correct 32 GB hard drive for me, which is awesome. There is our ZFS file system there. This is beautiful. This was really easy to do, I think. One more thing, let's quickly do that because I struggled with it last time. There's the temperature. It's now set wrong per default because you first need to choose which sensor it should take. As you can see, of course, I have no internet right now because I don't have a internet capable device plugged in. So go to system, go to advanced. Now where was it? Okay, I think it was miscellaneous. And yeah, scroll down to cryptographic and terminal hardware. And because this is a Intel CPU, a Atom CPU, I choose Intel. Depending on your CPU, choose either one of those. Then scroll down all the way to the button, click on save. Go back to the dashboard, and now we should see the correct temperature, and there it is, 33 degrees Celsius. Good. Guys, this is how to install pfSense 2.4.4 from USB, or this was. I hope you liked that video. I hope it was clear enough, it was fast enough, I didn't talk too much. If it was good for you, please give it a thumbs up. Again, please subscribe to my channel, it helps me out tremendously. Also, check my website, cosec.com. I write articles twice a week. I release a lot of content for pfSense, and there is a lot of content for pfSense up there already, same as on my YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out as well if you want to advance your pfSense skills. As I said, I'm pfSense certified, so I try to to produce more content for pfSense again in the future. I'm pretty busy right now to do pfSense stuff, and I'm happy when I get to it. But as I said, if you don't like this video, you know what to do as well. That's a shame, but if you did, again, thumbs up, it helps me out. Thanks guys for watching, and I hope to see you back next week in the next video. See you.